going on, and welcome back to another video. Today, gonna be working on the M3. Now, I wanna build a custom bash bar today. Purpose being, I wanna be able to connect the rear diffuser that I'm gonna build for the next video to that bash bar, and I don't want to damage the OEM one. I just wanna build a completely new one. Now, because the rear bumper connects to the OEM bash bar, and then you connect the bash bar to the car, and that's how you take the bumper on and off, what I'm gonna do is add some quick disconnects, and I'll be going over that with you guys and showing you what I do. But for right now, I'm gonna get the rear bumper off and start taking some measurements, figure out how high it is so the bumper sits correctly, that kind of stuff. So let's get the car up and get the bumper off. All right, so first things first, the OEM bash bar comes off pretty simply. There's 3 studs that come in on either side, and then there's 3 nuts in the back that you take off, and then it basically just pulls out. I have the backup sensors, so I gotta take those out too, but it's a pretty simple removal. So now what I wanna do is I wanna build a bash bar that's just as simple. So first things first, I'm gonna build a plate that goes on either mounting point. I'm gonna add 3 studs on it, so that way I can use those factory holes and not have to modify the car in any way. The next thing is I need to figure out the height. So how high it needs to sit to get the perfect gap between where the bumper is and where it meets the car. Another thing I'm going to need to factor in is where exactly I want my bumper to connect to the bash bar. So I'm going to be using these quick latch, quick disconnect buttons. So basically I will stick the stud here in the bash bar, and then this button will be placed on the bumper and then secured with this nut. And then I'll just be able to press this button and pull the bumper off. The final thing I need to figure out is exactly where I want my brackets to sit. So what's going to happen is I'm probably going to end up having 2 bars that go across here with space in the middle, and in that middle is where I'm going to weld in a plate that's going to sit like this, and it's going to have mounting holes, and so that way I can build a frame that my diffuser will be attached to, and that'll just bolt up here. I know it's a little bit confusing, but I promise it will make sense. So first things first, I'm going to start with removing the factory bash bar from the bumper and placing it on here and seeing what the gap is between the body of the car and the factory bash bar. Alrighty, so here we are. So we got the factory bash bar on. This foam piece is pretty important because that's the actual depth of the bash bar. So when this sits on here, that's how far out my bash bar that I'm building has to go in order to keep the bumper supported underneath, and then to keep it at the right distance here so it doesn't go too far forward or anything like that. I'm going to be taking some measurements, trying to get all the different angles, the depth, the height, everything. Then I'll catch back up with you guys and let you know what's next. Alright, so I've got all my measurements taken. It's all written out here on this pad. Put tape down just so that way it's all consistent. I always measure from the same point. So I have my square tubing over here. It's some recycled square tubing that I've got from a frame I took apart. So essentially what I'm going to do is take this tubing right here. I got to cut those studs off. Set it on top, and then basically make my marks. So like where it needs to start to bend, I'll make a slice, I'll make a cut, bend it, and then just keep going along, weld another piece on here, bend it, weld another piece on here, and just keep going until it makes the entire length of the bash bar. I'm going to go ahead and get to building these 2 tubes, and then catch back up with you guys when I'm done. Alright guys, so here is the first bar made. I ground down all of the welds, almost all of them, and it's looking pretty good. It's level, which going off of this wasn't the best guide to make it level, but I kind of eyeballed it and it turned out really well, so super happy with that. So now I just have to make a second one of these, and then I can move on to the other steps of connecting these together and so on. Alright, so I got the second bar made. Came out pretty good. It was much easier to just rebuild what I had already figured out. Just going along with, so this is my straight edge, and then figuring out this angle here, which is 4 degrees, and then going along with that. But it is getting kind of late. I think it's midnight now, so kind of late to be grinding away at things and cutting metal. So I'm going to call it a night for now, pick back up in the morning. So yeah, should be pretty good day, and should be able to get this bash bar knocked out. I'm really happy with how it's turning out. Still not the prettiest welds, but I think I'm improving, I'm getting better. Let's see here. Those I'm kind of happy with. Those were just a bunch of spot welds put together, layered on top of each other. Not sure where my other welds are, where I actually took the bead and pushed it across. Still kind of figuring this out. Obviously, I'm not a master fabricator. I would like to be one day. I'm having a blast. This is super fun, and I'd like to be really good at it. So yeah, if any of you guys out there have fabrication experience, I'd love to hear from you guys. If you want to drop some knowledge in the comment section, I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you guys are enjoying the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It also helps me out a little bit, and you only got to click a button, so it's pretty easy. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and call it for now, and I will see you guys in just a second. And we're back. So today what I'm going to be working on is the plates that mount into the back of the car. So that's where the plate is going to go that I build. Once the plate is done, I'll be able to take a piece of square tubing and weld it from the top bar to that plate. Now, as far as the plate that I'm going to be building, I could not find an 11 gauge piece of steel plate. So I'm going to be taking this 3 foot by 3 inch wide steel bar here, cutting it, taking another section, welding it together, and then I'll have a wide enough piece to start building the plate that goes back there for the mount.
Take what you want from me, I'll give you everything, all that and more you'll see, just stay right here with me. Love is not fiction.
Alright, so here we are. Here's the bumper. Look at the bumper here. There's only a single bar going across it right now. I didn't do the lower bar. And I just wanted to see how fitment was. I'm actually looking at just sticking with the single bar instead of attaching that one, and just attaching the rods for the quick latches into the bar right here. I think that'll actually work pretty well. And the bar that's on here, I mean, it's spot welded together at the moment, but it's holding it up pretty nicely. So yeah, I think I'm happy with it as is, so I'm not going to go to the trouble of welding more onto the bash bar. I think it's kind of unnecessary at this point. I wasn't sure to begin with, so I went ahead and made that just in case, but it looks like I'm not going to need it, which is great. So a lot of work going into this. Still got some minor adjustments to do, but with cutting off the extra welding that I was planning on doing already, it's probably going to save me a lot of time, and it's going to help me finish up much quicker. So I'm going to go ahead and get this dialed in and then finish up the bar, finish welding it up, and then start working on the quick latch pins. Alright, so I got the bumper on, trying to adjust these quick latches here that work out pretty well. This one is set up pretty good right now, so I can just press on it and it will start to pull the bumper out. And then this one is set up pretty tight. Over here is nice and tight. The fitment's okay over here. I've still got to adjust that, but I'm going to continue to work with the fitment here, try to get it really dialed in and smooth. And then add the mounts here, and then I should be able to paint the bar. Should be good to go. Should be able to mount it and be done. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to work. Alright guys, so put quite a few coats of paint on here, and it's almost done drying, and it turned out to look okay. I mean, it was ugly before, it's still kind of ugly, but it's gonna do the job just fine. All I have to do now is get it mounted up, then I'll be able to install my bumper and put it all back together. Now I can start working on the rear diffuser. I'm kind of going over some ideas on how to adjust the fitment and everything, because I want to make it as efficient as possible. So because I have the car already up here, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that. So anyways, that is gonna do it for this video. Thank you guys very much for watching. Again, I am nowhere near any kind of master fabricator or anything like that, but I've learned a lot. If I were to go back and do it all over again, I'd probably measure differently and just figure out a blanket height of where I want the bar to go. And then from there, make my brackets and weld it on so it's that height, and it'd just be way easier. As far as functionality goes though, the bar works just like I wanted it to. The bumper holds to it really nicely with those quick latches. Thank you guys again so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. Also, if you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you guys can leave those in the section down below. And then also, if you guys have not already, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell. That way you guys see when the latest videos are out. I will see you guys in the next video. Have an awesome day.